Have you ever experienced something so strange, so unexplainable that you started to question your own sanity? Well, settle in, because I have a story that will send a chill down your spine and make you wonder what's really out there in the vast, empty deserts of Nevada. It all started on a drive back home from Las Vegas. My wife and I, feeling a bit adventurous, decided to take a detour. You've probably heard of it. Nevada State Route 375, better known as the Extraterrestrial Highway. We weren't exactly UFO believers, but we were curious. The main goal? A little pit stop at the world-famous Little Alien in Rachel, Nevada. It seemed like a fun, quirky way to break up the long drive. The sun was beginning to set, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and purple. The road stretched out before us, a long black ribbon cutting through an endless landscape of sagebrush and sand. It was quiet, eerily quiet, the kind of silence that makes you aware of your own breathing. We were cruising along, enjoying the desolate beauty of it all, when something caught my eye. Up ahead, hovering in the middle of the road, was a single, intense red light. It wasn't a car's tail light, and it wasn't a traffic signal out here in the middle of nowhere. It was just there, floating. Just a solid crimson dot against the darkening sky. I slowed the car down, my hands tightening on the steering wheel. "Do you see that?" I asked my wife, my voice barely a whisper. She just nodded, her eyes wide, glued to the light. We crept closer, our curiosity wrestling with a growing sense of dread. As we got within a few hundred feet, the light began to move. It didn't speed away or flicker out. It moved slowly, deliberately, gliding from the center of the road towards us. My heart started pounding in my chest. This wasn't a drone. It was completely silent. It had a presence, an intelligence to its movement that was deeply unsettling. The red orb drifted smoothly, effortlessly, around the front of our car and came to a stop right outside my wife's passenger side window. It just floated there, maybe 10 feet away. It was a perfect sphere of red light, with no visible structure holding it up. It didn't cast a beam, but it pulsed with a soft internal glow. We were both frozen, speechless. It felt like time had slowed down. We were in a bubble, and this thing was observing us. I remember looking at my wife. Her face was pale, a mixture of awe and pure terror. She was staring at the light, completely captivated. We didn't say a word. What could we say? We were witnessing the impossible. For what felt like an eternity, but was probably only about 5 minutes, the red orb light hovered there, silent and still. It was an intimate and terrifying standoff. Then, just as slowly as it had arrived, it began to move again. It drifted along the side of the car, its red glow reflecting off the windows, and made its way to the back. Desert highway, dark outside, I watched it in the rearview mirror. This impossible red star following us. It floated behind our car at night for another few minutes. A silent, mysterious escort on a lonely highway. And then, just like that, it vanished. It didn't fly off into the distance. It didn't fade away. 1 second it was there, and the next it was gone. Complete darkness. The silence that followed was deafening. My own ragged breathing was the only sound in the car. I pulled over to the side of the road, my hands shaking. I killed the engine. Driving through the desert at night with my wife on the highway. We both stumbled out of the car, needing to feel the solid ground beneath our feet. What was that?" my wife finally stammered. I had no answer. We scanned the sky, the horizon, everywhere. There was nothing. Just the stars beginning to pop out in the clear desert sky. As we stood there, trying to process what had just happened, something else struck us. We were surrounded by trees. Not just a few sparse desert shrubs, but dense, tall, magnificent trees. It looked like a forest had sprung up out of nowhere. It was beautiful, almost magical, like a scene from Washington State or Northern California, completely out of place in the Nevada desert. The air smelled of pine and damp earth. It was so vivid, so real. We were both in awe of the sheer number of them, their dark silhouettes reaching up towards the star-filled sky. We stood there for a while, surrounded by this impossible forest, the strangeness of the light compounded by the strangeness of the landscape. Were the two connected? Was this some kind of shared hallucination? We didn't know. Eventually, the cold night air and the lingering shock drove us back into the car. We still had a ways to go to reach the little alien, and sitting on the side of that dark highway suddenly felt very unwise. We drove the rest of the way in a state of bewildered silence, each of us lost in our own thoughts. When we finally saw the lights of the inn, it felt like reaching an outpost of civilization after being lost in another dimension. We checked in, barely speaking to the innkeeper. We spent the night in a haze, the events replaying over and over in our minds. The red light, the silent observation, the impossible forest. The next morning, we woke up feeling like we'd just emerged from a strange dream. We packed our things, still feeling a bit dazed, and got back on the road to head home. As we drove away from the inn, we retraced our route from the night before. We were both looking, scanning the landscape, searching for any sign of what we had seen. But there was nothing. No trees, not a single one. Just the familiar, sparse desert landscape of sagebrush and rock stretching for miles in every direction. The magnificent forest we had stood in, the one that seemed so real, was completely gone. It was as if it had never been there. That's when the real doubt started to creep in. We kept asking each other, what happened last night? Did we really see that? We started questioning everything. Were we just that tired from the drive? Did our minds play a trick on us, a shared hallucination born from the folklore of the alien highway? Could we have dreamt the entire thing? But it felt too real. The fear was real. The awe was real. I can still see that red light hovering outside the window with the sense of being watched by something not of this world. To this day, we don't have an explanation. We tell the story sometimes and people look at us like we're crazy. Maybe we are. Or maybe, for a few brief moments on a lonely stretch of highway, we slipped through a crack in reality and saw something we weren't supposed to see. Something that defies explanation. I've driven many roads and seen many strange things, but nothing compares to that night on the extraterrestrial highway. It left me with more questions than answers, and a profound sense that we are not alone, and that the world is far more mysterious than we can possibly imagine. What do you think happened? Have you ever experienced anything like this? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Thanks so much for listening to my story. If you enjoy tales of the strange and unexplained, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Stay curious and keep your eyes on the skies. You never know what you might see.